The night has its own kind of wisdom. When the world softens and everything begins to hush, you can almost hear it, the gentle hum beneath all things, a stillness that asks for nothing, a calm that holds everything. Take a moment now to arrive. Wherever you are, lying in your bed, eyes half closed, the air a little cool against your skin, let the noise of the day begin to fade. You don't have to chase a single thought. You don't have to do anything at all. Just listen to the sound of your breath, to the space between each inhale and exhale, that quiet pause where peace lives. The night sky stretches above, infinite yet tender. The lights of the city are distant now, their glow softened by the hour. Outside, maybe a faint breeze stirs the leaves. Inside, your heartbeat slows, your body remembering what it means to rest. There is wisdom in silence, a kind that cannot be taught in books or shouted from any pulpit. It is the kind of knowing that rises from within when the world goes still, a wisdom that whispers rather than declares. This is where our journey begins, not with noise, not with ideas, not with answers, but with the simple act of listening. If you let yourself drift a little between waking and sleep, you may notice how thoughts come and go, how they flicker like candlelight, some bright, some dim, all temporary. And yet, beneath them, there is something steady, something that has always been there, waiting for you to return. You don't have to reach for it. You simply allow it. In the hush of this moment, feel your breath moving through you. Slow, deep, kind. It is not hurried. It has nowhere to go. It simply is. And so are you. Let this quiet be a space for you to unfold. Let the body sink a little deeper into the mattress. Let the shoulders soften, the jaw unclench. Feel the weight of the day begin to melt, like sand falling through an open hand. Nothing is required of you now. Not thought, not effort, not control. Only awareness, only presence. This is the invitation to step gently into a stillness that has always been here, beneath the surface of your mind. To rest in the simplicity of being. To remember that peace is not something we must earn. It is something we return to. As you settle into this space, imagine a small light flickering somewhere deep inside you. It does not blind or demand attention. It simply glows, softly, steadily. A quiet companion in the dark. This light is awareness. This light is you. Tonight, we walk with someone who also sought that light, a man who bore the weight of an empire, yet longed for the peace of the soul. He lived surrounded by duty and war, yet found within himself a sanctuary of thought. He was Marcus Aurelius, emperor, philosopher, and student of silence. In the long corridors of history, his words still echo, not with command, but with calm. They remind us that wisdom does not belong only to the grand or the great, but to anyone who learns to listen inwardly. So as you breathe now, let each breath carry you a little closer to that stillness. The night deepens, the mind quiets, and we begin our journey through the gentle philosophy of rest. Once, long ago, there lived a man who carried both a crown and a burden. By day, he ruled the most powerful empire in the world. By night, he searched for peace within himself. His name was Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor, a philosopher, and, at heart, a student of silence. He did not write his thoughts for others to admire. He wrote them for himself, in the quiet hours before dawn, when sleep would not come and the weight of command pressed upon his chest. He wrote to remember who he was, beneath the gold and the armor, to remind himself that even emperors are only human. His book, Meditations, was not meant to be read by the world. It was a collection of whispers to his own soul, pages filled with reflections, doubts, and moments of stillness. He was, after all, not immune to fear or sorrow or exhaustion. He knew the taste of sleepless nights. He knew the feeling of being surrounded by voices, and yet profoundly alone. Just like you, Marcus too had nights where his mind would not rest, when the noise of responsibility would not fade, when he would look out into the darkened tent of a military camp, the wind sighing through the canvas, and wonder if peace was something a man could ever truly hold. And yet, instead of escaping his thoughts, he chose to listen to them, not to obey them, but to understand. He believed that wisdom begins not with answers, but with attention, that if one learns to observe their own mind with gentleness, even turmoil becomes a teacher. Imagine him now, the emperor, seated by the dim light of a candle, his armor set aside, the ink dark against the page. Outside, the Roman frontier is silent. Inside, a man is speaking quietly to himself. He writes of patience. He writes of duty, of kindness, of impermanence. He writes to remind himself to stay calm amid the storms of life, to let go of anger before it hardens, to meet misfortune not with despair, but with clarity. Each line is like a breath, steady, deliberate, forgiving. And as he writes, the world around him softens, the candle flickers, the ink dries. The emperor becomes, for a moment, just a soul in conversation with the universe. There is something deeply tender in that, the idea that even one who commanded legions sought the same stillness we seek tonight. That power could not quiet his mind, yet wisdom could. That greatness was not in his armies, but in his ability to return again and again to peace. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." He did not mean control in the harsh sense, but awareness, the gentle strength of knowing what is truly yours to guide, the breath, the thought, the choice to be kind. Marcus lived surrounded by chaos, wars, illness, betrayal, loss, and yet his words hum with serenity. He was not free from suffering, but he was free within it. That is the quiet art he invites us to learn. So as you listen now, imagine his world fading into yours. The sound of distant hoofbeats becomes the rhythm of your heart. The chill of the Roman dawn becomes the cool air in your room. The emperor's candle becomes the soft light flickering behind your eyelids. You and Marcus, two souls, centuries apart, breathing under the same vast sky, asking the same ancient question. How do we find peace in a world that never stops moving? Perhaps the answer lies not in doing more, but in hearing more. Not in conquering, but in noticing. Marcus listened to his breath, to his thoughts, to the quiet presence of being alive. And in that listening, he discovered wisdom. Let us too begin to listen. Let the night speak softly. Let the mind slow down. Let the heart remember. Even an emperor once sought stillness in the dark. There is a moment, somewhere between wakefulness and sleep, where everything begins to loosen. Thoughts no longer march in straight lines. They drift like feathers in slow air. The body forgets its edges, and the mind, tired from a day of holding on, begins to let go. This is where wisdom begins, not in effort, not in argument, but in awareness, the calm kind that simply watches without needing to change anything. You are here now, in this soft pause between everything that has happened and everything that will, in this small eternity that is called the present. Let the world fall away for a while. Let the noise of your thoughts settle, like snow in still water. You don't need to quiet the mind by force. It will quiet itself when it is no longer chased. Take a slow breath in, feel it rise from somewhere deep, a gentle tide returning to shore. Hold it for a heartbeat, and then let it go. Notice the way the air leaves you, how it carries with it a little of the day's weight, a little of the mind's noise. Again, breathe in, slowly, as though the world itself is breathing with you, and breathe out, softer this time, letting the body sink into the quiet it has always known. In the hush of this moment, remember, you are not your thoughts. You are the one who sees them. You are the sky. They are only clouds. When Marcus Aurelius wrote his meditations, he practiced this same gentle seeing. He would pause, observe his mind, and note what passed through it without judgment. He knew that clarity doesn't come from silencing the mind, but from letting it speak and listening with kindness. He once wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." So he learned to hold his thoughts like a painter choosing his shades, carefully, patiently, aware of what each one might create within him. And you too can do this now. You can choose to watch your thoughts drift by, not to stop them, not to fix them, but simply to see their colors as they fade and flow. See how each one rises, then dissolves. See how even the restless ones lose their sharpness when you stop giving them names. This is calm awareness. Not escape, but understanding. Not stillness as emptiness, but stillness as knowing. Feel the rhythm of your breathing, the rise, the fall, the gentle pause between. Notice how, even without trying, your body remembers peace, how it exhales the old and welcomes the new, how it listens, even when the mind is tired. Let your shoulders soften. Let your hands rest loosely where they are. Let the corners of your mouth release. There is nothing you need to hold right now. Everything that truly matters will wait for you. This moment, this breath, is enough. Wisdom, Marcus believed, is not hidden in philosophy or faraway heavens. It is found in the act of noticing what is here, the breath, the heartbeat, the passing of time. He called it living according to nature, which means living in harmony with what is, instead of fighting what cannot be changed. And so, as you rest, you are already practicing philosophy, not through thought, but through presence, by breathing, by being. If your mind begins to wander, let it. Let it trace soft paths through memory and imagination. Let it circle back, like a tide to the shore of your awareness. You don't need to guide it home. It already knows the way. There is a kind of peace that grows when we stop searching for it. When we allow life to unfold, just as the night unfolds now. Slowly, quietly, inevitably. Marcus understood this. He learned that wisdom is not a voice of command, but a whisper that says, "Be still and see." So stay here, in this gentle space between thought and sleep. Let the weight of the body be held by the earth. Let the sound of your breath fill the dark with softness. Let yourself fall, not into dreams, but into stillness. For it is here that awareness becomes peace, and peace becomes wisdom. Now, let us walk beside him through the quiet corridors of his thoughts. The mind is like a river. It moves constantly, glimmering, murmuring, never the same from one moment to the next. Each thought is a ripple upon its surface, forming and dissolving before you can grasp it. And yet, how often we try to grasp. Marcus Aurelius once began his morning by reminding himself, "When you wake up, tell yourself, 'Today I shall meet with interference, ingratitude, insolence, disloyalty, ill will, and selfishness.'" He did not write this to invite despair, but to prepare the mind, to see thoughts, expectations, and emotions as passing weather. He knew that what unsettles us is rarely what happens outside, but the way our thoughts cling to it inside. Take a breath now, in and out. Imagine your thoughts as leaves upon the water, drifting, spinning, carried gently by the current. You do not need to chase them. You do not need to push them away. They are simply moving, as rivers do. Marcus wrote again, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." And so he practiced seeing without staining, watching each passing current, but not letting it color who he was. You can do the same, here, now. Watch the mind, not to control it, but to understand it. Not to silence it, but to listen without judgment. The Stoics believed that peace comes not from an empty mind, but from a clear one, from knowing which thoughts are merely visitors and which are worth keeping as companions. So breathe again, slowly, gently. Let each breath widen the space inside you, the space in which thoughts appear, dance, and fade. You may notice how some thoughts come wrapped in emotion. Worry, impatience, memory. Let them come. They are part of the river too. The moment you see them clearly, they lose their power to sweep you away. Imagine yourself standing on the bank, the water flowing beneath your gaze. You do not have to step in. You do not have to fix the current. You simply observe. Marcus called this right reason, the ability to step back and see the workings of the mind without being ruled by them. He knew that serenity is born not from escape, but from understanding, from the quiet courage of seeing what is, without resistance. As you rest now, perhaps you can sense that stillness within, not the absence of thought, but the calm awareness behind it, the watcher, the witness, the part of you that notices without naming. Every time you breathe, you return to that witness. You return to yourself. The river flows, but the sky remains. So when thoughts arise, let them. When emotions stir, feel them. Then let them pass. You are not the river. You are the space through which it flows. Marcus, in the dim light of his tent, knew this truth well. He wrote not to command his mind, but to remind it. You are free the moment you see clearly. And so as you breathe in again and breathe out, remember, you are the observer, not the storm. You are the awareness beneath every thought, silent, vast, unbroken. Tonight, you are simply watching the river flow. Nothing to fix, nothing to fear. Only the quiet motion of the mind, returning, always, to peace. Every thought is a leaf drifting downstream, some bright and new, others faded and fragile, all of them carried by the same quiet current that never stops moving. This is the nature of the mind, always flowing, always changing, never still, for long. Marcus Aurelius understood this. He wrote that life itself is like a river of events and time like a stream. No sooner has a thing appeared than it is carried away, and another comes to take its place. Close your eyes for a moment. Can you feel that flow within you? Not just the breath, but the subtle movement of awareness, thoughts forming, dissolving, rising again like ripples across the surface of water. It is natural, it is beautiful, and it does not need to be controlled. We spend much of our lives trying to dam the river, to stop it from carrying us toward uncertainty. We try to hold on to joy, to fix moments of peace, to fight against change. But the more we hold, the more the current pulls. The Stoics knew this paradox well, that serenity is not found in resistance, but in alignment with the nature of things. Marcus would remind himself, adapt yourself to the things among which your lot has been cast, and love sincerely the fellow creatures with whom destiny has ordained that you shall live. He meant that life flows best when we flow with it, when we stop demanding that the river be still. Take a slow breath in, feel it enter like a wave, and breathe out, letting the wave go. Notice how the air moves through you without your effort. You don't command it, you simply allow it. So too with thought, with time, with life. Imagine now that you are standing beside the river of your mind. The water is smooth, cool, and endless. Each leaf upon its surface carries something, a memory, a wish, a regret, a dream. You watch them drift. Some float past quickly, others linger, circling in small eddies before being drawn onward. You do not need to chase them. You do not need to name them. They go where they must. The river knows its way. In the Stoic vision, this is how the universe moves, not in chaos, but in order too vast to comprehend. Everything that happens flows from what came before and flows into what will come next. To fight that current is to suffer. To see it clearly is to find peace. Marcus often meditated on this truth at the edges of battlefields, where life and death were as constant as the flow of a stream. He wrote, "Time is like a river made up of events which happen, and a violent stream. For as soon as a thing has been seen, it is carried away, and another comes in its place." Even an emperor could not stop the current. He could only learn to move with it, to let it teach him humility, patience, and grace. You can feel that same wisdom now, in the rhythm of your own breath. Each inhale a beginning, each exhale a letting go. 1,000 tiny moments flowing through you, thought, feeling, sound, each one arriving and passing in its time. There is no need to grasp at them. You are not the leaves, you are not the current. You are the awareness beside it, still, calm, unbroken. When you learn to rest as that awareness, The river no longer feels wild. Its movement becomes music. Its change becomes beauty. Its impermanence becomes peace. So tonight, let everything within you move as it must. Let the mind drift. Let the heart breathe. Let time flow through you, unresisted. Every thought, every moment, every breath. A leaf on the river within, drifting downstream, returning always to the sea of stillness from which it came. There is a threshold we cross each night, a place where awareness softens and dreams begin to bloom. It is not sudden, but gradual, like dusk surrendering to night. The body grows heavy, the breath slows, and thought becomes less a voice, more a shimmer. Here, the mind loosens its grasp on the day. Here, the self becomes lighter, less defined, more open. You are still awake, but only just, floating in that delicate balance between remembering and releasing. Marcus Aurelius knew this state well. He wrote in Meditations, "Accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate brings you together, but do so with all your heart." He was not writing of resignation, but of peace, the kind that arises when we stop struggling against what is. He understood that acceptance is not giving up, but allowing life to flow as it must, like a river finding its way to the sea. Take a slow breath in. Let the air fill your chest, gentle and deep. And as you exhale, imagine the weight of expectation leaving you, the things you wished had gone differently, the words you still replay, the fears you hold close at night. Let them drift away, leaf by leaf, into the current. The Stoics called this practice amor fati, the love of one's fate, to greet every moment, pleasant or painful, as part of the whole design, to see even difficulty as a teacher, even loss as a turning of the seasons. Marcus reminded himself, if you are pained by external things, it is not they that disturb you, but your judgment of them, and it is in your power to wipe out that judgment now. He did not mean to deny the ache of being human. He meant to remind himself that peace begins when we stop fighting what cannot be changed. When we see clearly, we suffer less. When we accept, we grow still. So now, as the edges of thought begin to blur, let yourself rest in that truth. You are not required to solve anything tonight. You are not asked to carry the world. You are only asked to be here, breathing, noticing, letting life unfold as it will. The body knows what to do. It exhales the day, one breath at a time. It finds its rhythm again, soft, steady, ancient. Even your heart, beating quietly beneath your ribs, whispers the same lesson: acceptance. Beat after beat, it welcomes each moment, then lets it go. The space between awareness and sleep is a teacher too. It shows us that surrender is not weakness, but wisdom. That release is its own kind of strength. Let your mind wander if it wishes. Let it paint half-formed images, the color of light on water, the sound of footsteps fading in snow, the echo of a voice that once brought comfort. You don't need to hold them. They come and go as everything does. And when a thought arises, of tomorrow, of the past, of something unfinished, smile at it gently. Say to it, as Marcus once might have, "You may pass," and let it drift. The night around you deepens. The air is still. Somewhere beyond your window the world continues, stars spinning, waves moving, hearts beating. You are part of that rhythm. You always have been. Feel how the distance between you and the universe begins to fade. There is no boundary now between your breath and the air, between your body and the quiet that holds it. You are not separate from life. You are its pulse, its motion, its song. Marcus wrote, "What happens to each of us is for the good of the whole, and what benefits the whole benefits each of us." In that knowing, the heart can rest. There is nothing to resist. There is only what is, and the peace of saying yes to it. So as you lie here between awareness and sleep, let that yes become your lullaby. Let it hum softly through your thoughts, through your breath, through your being. You are here. You are safe. You are part of the great flowing order that has no beginning and no end. Drift now. The world is quiet. Your thoughts are leaves on the river. And you are the stillness that watches them pass. Everything is ephemeral. Marcus Aurelius wrote those words not as a warning, but as a comfort. He saw in the changing of all things not tragedy, but truth, the quiet rhythm by which the universe breathes. Look around in your mind's eye, and you will see it too. A petal loosening from its flower, a wave withdrawing from the shore, a single moment fading into memory before you even realize it has gone. There is nothing cruel in this. It is simply how the world moves, softly, endlessly, in cycles of becoming and passing away. Take a breath. Feel how even this breath is born and gone in a heartbeat. You cannot hold it, only let it move through you, and yet, in its passing, it gives you life. That is the nature of impermanence, not loss, but renewal. Each ending opens the space for something to begin. Each fading light makes room for another dawn. Marcus wrote, "Time is like a river, made up of events which happen, and a violent stream. For as soon as a thing has been seen, it is carried away, and another comes in its place." He did not resist this flow. He found peace in its constancy. For if everything changes, then everything, even pain, must also pass. Imagine the night around you now, the hush of it, the way darkness folds gently over the edges of things. Listen, the wind brushing the trees, the faint hum of life continuing unseen. It is all moving, even in stillness. And you, too, are part of that quiet motion. The Stoics believed that acceptance of impermanence was not sadness, but freedom. When you no longer cling, you are no longer carried by fear. You can love what is here, knowing it will not last, and still find joy in the loving. Think of the dew on morning grass, so fragile, so luminous, trembling at the edge of dawn. It will vanish when the sun rises, but while it shines, it holds the whole sky within its tiny reflection. That is enough. Life asks nothing more of us than to shine while we can, to reflect what beauty passes through us, to let go when the light changes. Marcus reminded himself often, "Soon you will have forgotten all things. Soon all things will have forgotten you." Yet he wrote this not in despair, but in serenity, as one who has made peace with the truth that all forms dissolve, and only the harmony of change remains. So let the moments of your own life move as they must. Let old worries fall away like leaves in autumn. Let the heart unclench its grasp on what was or might have been. You need not hold everything. You were never meant to. The universe will take what it needs and give back in time what you are ready to receive. All you must do is trust the flow. The night deepens, the stars shift. The breath continues, in, out, in, out. Each one a small echo of eternity. Everything is ephemeral, and in that truth, everything is beautiful. Time moves softly, though we often imagine it as something fierce. We chase it, measure it, try to hold it close, but like water in our hands, it always slips away. And yet Marcus Aurelius saw in time not an enemy, but a teacher. He wrote, "All that you see will soon perish, and those who have watched it perish will perish themselves." Think constantly on how swiftly all things pass away. To him, this was not a sorrowful thought. It was liberation. For if everything, pleasure, pain, triumph, loss, passes with time, then nothing has the power to hold us for long. Every joy is to be cherished. Every wound will heal. The Stoics taught that the past and the future exist only in the mind. What is real, what truly belongs to you, is this single, fleeting, present moment. This breath, this heartbeat, this gentle awareness that you are here, now. Pause for a moment. Listen to the sound of your own breathing. That quiet rhythm is the sound of time itself. Not rushing, not running away, but unfolding. Each inhale a beginning, each exhale a release. The present is always being renewed. Marcus reminded himself of this often. When the weight of his empire pressed upon him, when memory pulled him backward or worry pushed him ahead, he would return to this simple truth. Confine yourself to the present. He knew that the mind wanders constantly between what has been and what might be. It worries over things that no longer exist, or imagines futures that have not yet come, and in doing so, it forgets to live. But time, when listened to gently, teaches another way. It whispers that everything you need is already here. Not tomorrow, not yesterday, but within this breath, this stillness. Take another slow breath in. Feel how it fills you completely. And then, as you exhale, notice how naturally it leaves, without fear, without clinging. This is how the present works. It arrives, it departs, and in its movement lies peace. To rest in the present is to rest in life itself. It is to stop fighting the current of time and begin to float within it. You do not need to reach for tomorrow or carry the past upon your shoulders. Both are illusions, shadows cast by thought. The Stoics would say, the past is a story, the future a dream, and the present the only truth. And yet, we so rarely visit this truth, though it is the only home we ever truly have. Look around you, even if only in your imagination. The dim light of your room, the air against your skin, the pulse beneath your hand. These are the anchors of the now. They do not demand, they do not linger, they simply are. When Marcus wrote his meditations, he was not writing history or prophecy. He was writing to meet himself in the present, to remind his mind again and again to come back. To find stillness not in the future's promises, but in the present's quiet grace. He knew that time was not something to master, but to harmonize with. Like a musician keeping rhythm, he listened to its tempo. Slow, eternal, patient. So tonight, as you listen, let time be your teacher too. Let it show you that peace is never somewhere else, never sometime later. It is here, right now, waiting beneath your awareness, steady as the breath. You are not late for your own life. You are not behind. You are exactly where you need to be, inside this single sacred moment. Rest in it. Let it cradle you. Let the past soften into memory, the future dissolve into mist, until only now remains, warm, alive, infinite. Time, the gentlest of teachers, asks for nothing more, only that you be present enough to hear its lesson. Change is the nature of the universe. Marcus Aurelius wrote those words not to remind himself of loss, but of belonging. For if change is the rule of all things, then to resist it is to resist life itself. Everything transforms. The clouds that gather now will soon become rain. The rain will sink into the soil, nourishing roots that rise toward the light. A leaf will open, shimmer, fall, and return to the earth, and from that earth another will grow. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is truly gone. Marcus saw the world as one great living organism, a vast web of transformations in perfect rhythm. Each being, each breath, each flicker of existence contributes to the harmony of the whole. He wrote, "Observe constantly that all things take place by change, and accustom yourself to consider that the nature of the universe loves nothing so much as to change the things that are and to make new things like them." To him, change was not an interruption. It was creation continuing. It was life renewing itself through endless forms. Take a slow breath now. Feel the air enter and leave your body, the most intimate proof that change is life. The air you breathe was once part of a cloud, a forest, a distant sea. It moves through you, becoming you, then leaving to become something else. The boundary between you and the world is softer than it seems. We often fear change because it reminds us of our impermanence. We cling to what is known, forgetting that everything we love came to us through change. The friendships, the music, the faces, the moments of beauty, all were born from transformation. The Stoics understood this deeply. They saw in change not chaos, but the design of nature, unfolding with purpose even when hidden from our sight. Marcus urged himself to live in harmony with that design. He wrote, "Does the emerald lose its beauty for not being admired? Does the universe lose its order because you do not see it? All things are woven together, and the bond is holy." To live with wisdom, then, is to see the holiness in the pattern, to trust that every turning of the world serves its quiet role. Imagine now the great circle of life as a dance, endless, graceful. patient. The stars shift in thetheir courses, the oceans rise and fall, trees bloom and sleep and bloom again. Every creature moves in step with this rhythm, whether it knows it or not. And you too are part of that dance. Your heartbeat keeps time with the tides. Your breath echoes the wind. Even your thoughts change, like seasons passing across the mind. When you feel the ache of transition, the leaving of something familiar, the uncertainty of what comes next, remember that you are not being torn from life, but carried deeper into it. Change is not the end of belonging. It is how belonging continues. Marcus knew this well. He watched friends die, empires shift, and youth fade, yet he did not despair. He saw in those transformations the same natural order that turns night into day and winter into spring. He wrote, "That which comes after is always born from that which came before. And if you reflect on this, you will find much comfort, for there is nothing new, but only a ceaseless renewing. So let the changes within you unfold gently. Let the mind loosen its grip on what was. Let the heart open to what will be. The universe is not still. It breathes through you, moves through you, dreams through you. To resist is to close yourself to its music. To accept is to dance. Close your eyes now. Feel the pulse of life as it moves quietly beneath your skin. It is the same pulse that beats in the ocean, in the mountains, in the wind that travels unseen. You are not separate from the motion of things. You are the motion itself, the wave returning to the sea, the leaf returning to the soil, the spark returning to the stars. The dance continues, endlessly creating, endlessly dissolving, endlessly beautiful. To live is to move within it, to change, to yield, to become. And when you do, you discover what Marcus knew in his deepest heart, that peace is not found in holding still, but in learning to move with grace through the ever-changing rhythm of the world. There is a quiet strength in knowing what is yours to carry and what is not. The Stoics called this understanding the circle of control. It is the gentle boundary between peace and struggle, between the weight that belongs to you and the burdens that never did. Marcus Aurelius lived his life surrounded by forces far beyond his power: wars, politics, disease, loss. Yet even as emperor, he knew that he could not command the world to be kind, nor order the universe into calm. He wrote simply, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." For Marcus, control did not mean domination. It meant clarity. It meant returning, again and again, to what the soul can truly guide: thought, choice, intention, response. Everything else, the words of others, the turn of fortune, the rise and fall of days, belongs to the wider pattern of nature. And to fight that pattern is to fight the tide itself. So take a slow breath now. Let your shoulders loosen. Let your hands rest. You don't have to carry the world tonight. You never did. The mind often tries to hold everything, to fix what has already passed, to plan every uncertain hour ahead. It builds its fortress of worry, believing that if it thinks enough, it can protect itself from life. But peace does not come from control. It comes from release. Marcus understood that serenity lies not in bending the world to your will, but in shaping your will to the world. He practiced the art of letting things be as they are, neither clinging to pleasure nor running from pain, but meeting each with the same calm heart. He wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment." What a quiet mercy this is, to know that your peace does not depend on the shifting world, but on the stillness within. So tonight, let the circle of control guide you home. Within the circle are your thoughts, your choices, your attitude, your kindness. Outside it lies everything else: the weather, the opinions of others, the past, the future, the unfolding of the universe. You can let those things go. They will move on their own. You are free to rest within what is truly yours: this breath, this awareness, this small act of being gentle with yourself. When Marcus faced hardship, he would remind himself that the only real power he held was over his response. He could choose patience instead of anger, compassion instead of bitterness, understanding instead of fear. And in that choice, he found the kind of strength that cannot be taken away. Take another breath. In, out, slow, steady. Feel how little you need to control for this moment to be complete. The air comes. The air goes. The heart beats. The mind softens. Life moves on, with or without your worry. There is wisdom in surrendering to what is beyond your reach. There is grace in focusing on what is within it. And there is deep peace in remembering you are not meant to rule the world, only to meet it with presence. So rest now within your circle of control. You are safe here. Everything outside will take care of itself, as it always has. And you can finally let go. It was said that during one of the harsh Germanic campaigns, Marcus Aurelius would write by the dim light of a flickering lamp. The rain outside beat steadily against the canvas of his tent, a cold and endless rhythm. The fires of the soldiers hissed and sputtered in the mud. Far beyond the camp, the forests of the north stretched dark and silent. There, surrounded by war and weariness, he opened his small wax tablet and wrote, "Accept whatever comes to you, woven in the pattern of your destiny, for what could more aptly fit your needs." He did not write these words as an emperor giving command, but as a man reminding himself to breathe, to surrender to what he could not change. The weather, the battles, the endless uncertainty of life, all were beyond his control. But the state of his mind was not. So he learned, in that dim, rain-soaked stillness, the art of letting go. He would listen to the storm as if it were a teacher. The wind howled, the rain fell, and he did not resist it. He knew that the same nature which created the storm also created him, and that both would pass when the time was right. There is a kind of peace that comes only when we stop arguing with what is, when we realize that our resistance, more than our circumstances, is what keeps us from rest. Marcus understood this, that letting go is not weakness, but wisdom. To accept the moment is to align oneself with the flow of the universe itself. Take a slow breath in. Feel the air as it moves through you, effortless, unforced. And exhale, gently, fully. Notice how the body knows how to release. You do not have to tell it to. It simply lets go, because that is its nature. The same truth applies to the heart. It, too, was built to let go, of moments, of days, of people, of the past. Holding on is what tires it. Acceptance is what allows it to rest. Marcus once wrote, "Do not seek to have events happen as you wish, but wish them to happen as they do, and your life will flow serenely." He was not advocating passivity, but harmony. To live in agreement with the nature of things, to recognize that every event, pleasant or painful, is part of a greater order, one too vast for the mind to fully understand. So, imagine him there again, the philosopher emperor, pen poised, listening to the rain. Around him the camp sleeps. The horses shift softly in the dark. The wind carries the scent of smoke and pine. And he writes, not of conquest, but of calm. He writes to remind himself, and all of us, that peace is found not in control, but in surrender. Now close your eyes and listen to your own version of that rain. Maybe it's the hum of the night or the rhythm of your breath. Let it fall through your awareness like water through open hands. There is nothing to grasp. There is nothing to fix. There is only this sound, this breath, this moment. The art of letting go is not a single act, but a continual returning to trust, to softness, to acceptance. It is the gentle release of what was never truly yours to hold. If you can, bring to mind something you've been holding, a thought, a regret, a worry. See it clearly for a moment, like a leaf floating on the surface of the river. And now, with a breath, let it drift away. Watch how easily it goes when you stop holding it still. Marcus found comfort in this small practice, to write what he could not change, and then set it down. To release his grasp on outcomes and instead choose peace. Even in hardship he found meaning. Even in loss he found rhythm. Even in impermanence he found the eternal. He knew that to let go was not to lose but to return to the vastness that holds all things, to the balance that renews all things. The rain stops, the clouds part, and from the wet earth new life begins again. So tonight, as you listen to the quiet, Let Marcus's words be a lullaby for your restless mind. Accept whatever comes. Trust the unfolding. Let life move through you, not against you. You are not meant to hold the storm back. You are meant to feel the rain and know that it too will pass. Breathe, release, rest. You don't have to carry anything more. Trust is the quiet that follows surrender. It is the soft place where the heart lands after letting go. When Marcus Aurelius spoke of aligning with nature, this is what he meant, not blind faith, but a deep confidence that the rhythm of the universe moves with wisdom even when we cannot see it. He wrote, "Whatever happens to you has been waiting to happen since the beginning of time. The twining strands of fate wove both you and it together from one thread." To Marcus, this was not fatalism. It was peace. If the universe could weave galaxies and seasons and the beating of a sparrow's heart, could it not also be trusted to guide your small, uncertain path? Take a slow breath in. Feel it expand your chest, rise to your collarbones. And as you exhale, let yourself imagine that this breath is shared, not just by you, but by everything that lives. The trees exhale what you inhale. The air you release will soon fill the lungs of something else. You are already part of the great exchange. Trust is knowing that this exchange never stops, that life sustains itself without your constant control. The stars burn, the tides return, the dawn always comes. And even in your hardest nights, your heart keeps its quiet rhythm. Marcus lived through plague, war, and loss. He knew that pain was part of the pattern, but he refused to let it make him bitter. He chose trust instead, trust in reason, in nature, in the larger harmony that holds all things. He would remind himself everything that happens is as familiar and as expected as the rose in spring or the fruit in summer. Even sorrow, he believed, had its rightful place, like winter in the cycle of seasons. He did not ask why hardship came, but how he might move through it with grace. He did not demand to see the whole design. It was enough to know there was one. Let that truth settle in you now. You do not have to understand everything to rest. You do not need to solve the pattern. You are already woven into it. Trust begins where control ends. It is the quiet whisper that says, "You are safe in what is unfolding." Take another breath. Inhale, slow, gentle. Exhale, slower still. Each breath is proof of something constant beneath change. Even when the mind is uncertain, the body knows how to keep living, how to keep believing in the next moment. If you listen closely, you can almost hear that rhythm, not only within you, but all around you. The sound of night breathing, leaves moving in invisible wind, the soft hum of distant life, the pulse of the world itself. This is the heartbeat of the universe, and it is steady. It is kind. Marcus trusted this rhythm. He knew that just as the body breathes without command, so too does the universe move without error. He did not seek to force it, but to join it, to live in harmony with the pulse that carries all things forward. He wrote, "All is woven together, and the thread is sacred. Nothing is alien to me. Nothing that happens is without purpose." To rest in trust, then, is to remember that you belong to this sacred weave. Every joy, every challenge, every fleeting moment, all are threads in the same tapestry. And when you stop pulling at them, when you stop trying to rearrange the design, you begin to feel the softness of being held by something greater than yourself. So, tonight, let yourself be held. Let the world carry you the way the river carries a leaf, effortlessly, naturally, without fear. You don't need to push the current. You don't need to know where it ends. It knows. Let the breath guide you deeper. In, out, slow, and tender. With each exhale, release a little more of the weight you've been carrying, the doubts, the what-ifs, the things that keep you turning in your mind. They are not yours to bear alone. Trust that life knows what it is doing. Trust that even this moment, this quiet, this breath, is exactly where you are meant to be. You have not fallen out of rhythm. You are the rhythm. Marcus believed that peace comes not from the world obeying us, but from us learning to listen to the world, to trust its flow, to move with it instead of against it. Now, as you lie still, feel that movement surrounding you, the silent hum of existence, vast and calm. Let it cradle you. Let it breathe with you. You are safe. You are part of everything. You can rest. The stars turn. The night deepens. The universe breathes, and so do you. Act V, on compassion and humanity. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "We are made for one another. Either teach them kindly or bear with them." He believed that every soul, no matter how troubled or distant, was a thread in the same fabric of existence. For him, humanity was not a collection of strangers, but a single, breathing organism, vast, imperfect, and sacred. When you breathe in, remember, this air has touched countless lives before reaching you. It has passed through forests and oceans, through cities and open fields, through the laughter and sighs of others. And as you exhale, what leaves you will soon become the breath of someone else. This invisible exchange is the quiet truth of our connection. Take a moment to feel it, the shared rhythm that binds you to the world. Each heartbeat, each breath, each pulse of life is mirrored in someone, somewhere, right now. The newborn drawing her first breath, the tired worker resting at the end of his day, the friend you haven't seen in years, lying under the same sky. Marcus understood this profound unity. Even as emperor, surrounded by command and distance, he reminded himself, what injures the hive injures the bee. He saw that the health of one soul depends upon the health of all. That compassion is not an act of virtue alone, it is survival, balance, harmony. He urged himself to meet others not with judgment but with understanding, to see the anger of another as confusion, their cruelty as pain, their indifference as fatigue. In doing so, he found gentleness even amid cruelty, patience even amid noise. You too can feel this soft kinship now. Let your mind open to the quiet knowing that you are never truly alone. Your existence is held within a web of countless lives, ancestors, strangers, friends, and all who will come after. Their joys and sorrows echo faintly within you, as yours will echo within others. When Marcus faced betrayal or insult, he would pause and write to himself, "They act as they believe right, as you act, as you believe right. Show them understanding." He refused to let bitterness harden his heart. He knew that to stay kind in a difficult world was not weakness, it was the highest form of strength. Now, breathe again, in and out. Feel the breath not as yours, but as ours, the world inhaling and exhaling through you. This is what it means to be human, to belong, to share, to feel the pulse of others in your own veins. Let the walls of the self soften a little. Let the boundaries blur. You are not just one person moving through the world. You are the world moving through one person. Compassion is the remembrance of that truth, that what we do to others, we do to ourselves. That kindness is not something given away, but something returned home. So tonight, as you rest, let this understanding cradle you. You are part of something vast and tender. You are connected by breath, by being, by love that needs no words. And as you drift deeper into calm, may you feel the quiet comfort Marcus once knew, that in every breath you are never apart from the whole. There is a special kind of kindness that comes not from sweetness, but from seeing clearly. It is the kindness born from understanding, the quiet wisdom that knows every person you meet carries unseen burdens, hidden storms, and private griefs. Marcus Aurelius, though emperor, knew this truth intimately. He wrote, "When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, 'Today I shall meet people who are meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, deceitful, envious, and unsocial. They are like this because they cannot tell good from evil.'" And yet he did not write this to harden his heart. He wrote it to prepare it, to remind himself that expecting perfection from others is to misunderstand human nature, that we are all learning, all stumbling, all doing our best within the limits of our understanding. He believed that reason, gentle, patient reason, could soften anger and turn judgment into compassion. "Whenever you are offended," he said, "consider that you take it to heart because you think evil of that which is not evil." In other words, what hurts us most is not the action itself, but the story we tell ourselves about it. The mind, when clouded by pride or fear, interprets everything as an attack. But the mind, when lit by understanding, sees only the shared struggle to live and to be well. Take a slow breath in. Let it fill your chest, your ribs, your shoulders. And as you exhale, imagine letting go of one small resentment, something you've been holding against someone, maybe even against yourself. It doesn't have to disappear all at once. Just loosen your grip a little. Let the tightness soften. Forgiveness, Marcus knew, is not forgetting. It is seeing. It is the gentle decision to stop carrying someone else's darkness in your own heart. He wrote, "The best revenge is to be unlike your enemy." In this, he didn't mean superiority, he meant freedom. To remain kind in the face of unkindness is to prove that your peace is your own, untouched by the noise around you. He practiced what he taught. When betrayed by friends, criticized by senators, or faced with opposition, he did not lash out. He returned instead to reflection. He would sit in silence, breathe, and ask himself, what part of this is within my control? And the answer was always the same, his response. He would write to himself words of patience, sometimes almost like lullabies. They act as they believe right. You act as you believe right. Their error is human, as yours would be. He met the failings of others with the same understanding he wished for his own, and through that, his heart remained light, even under the weight of empire. Try for a moment to imagine the same for yourself. Think of someone who once hurt you, not to reopen the wound, but to see it differently. Picture them as a small child, lost and uncertain, doing what they thought they had to do to survive. Can you feel the anger begin to melt even a little? Not because what they did was right, but because you've chosen to see beyond the act, to the fragile, confused human behind it. This is the kindness of understanding. It is not loud. It does not seek reward. It does not even need to be seen. It lives quietly inside you, transforming pain into peace. When you begin to see people through this light, through the eyes of reason and compassion, the world itself begins to soften. The noise grows gentler. The sharp edges of life blur into something round, forgiving, almost luminous. Marcus believed that reason, guided by empathy, is the highest form of love. Because it is not swayed by emotion, nor blinded by pride. It simply sees things as they are and accepts them tenderly. So tonight, as your thoughts drift and settle, let this reason fill your heart with warmth. If anger arises, breathe through it. If old hurts whisper, listen gently, then let them go. You are not bound to them. You can choose peace. Every act of understanding is an act of healing. Every moment of compassion restores the world in miniature. So rest now in that quiet knowing. You are part of something kind. You are made for connection, for forgiveness, for love that asks for nothing. And as you breathe softly into the night, remember, the more you understand, the freer you become. The freer you become, the kinder the world feels. There is a strength that does not raise its voice, a strength that does not conquer or demand or strike. It is the kind that listens, that endures, that forgives, that keeps its warmth even when the world grows cold. Marcus Aurelius understood this strength, the gentle strength of the Stoic heart. He was not the unfeeling philosopher that many imagine, distant and detached. He was a man who felt deeply and yet remained steady, who cared without clinging, who loved without fear. He wrote, "To be kind is not to be weak, it is to be wise." Kindness, for him, was not an ornament of the soul, but its foundation, the quiet power that holds everything together. He ruled not through cruelty or pride, but through reason, tempered with compassion. Even when surrounded by conflict, he carried in him the stillness of someone who has made peace with life. There is a kind of courage in that stillness, the courage to stay gentle in a world that tempts us toward hardness, to respond to harshness not with defense, but with dignity, to meet hostility with clarity and calm. This is not the courage of the battlefield, but of the spirit. Marcus once reminded himself, when another blames you or hates you, or when men voice similar criticisms, go to their souls, penetrate inside, and see what sort of people they are. You will realize there is no need to be racked with anxiety that they should hold any particular opinion about you. He did not say this from indifference, but from compassion, from the understanding that anger and judgment are born of pain. He saw that to meet hatred with hatred only deepens the wound, but to meet it with calm disarms it. Think of how water meets the stone. The stone resists, the water yields, yet over time, it is the water that shapes the stone. So too with gentleness. What seems soft is, in truth, enduring. It wears down cruelty not by force, but by persistence. It transforms the world not through battle, but through being unshakably kind. Take a slow breath in. Let it expand quietly in your chest. And as you exhale, imagine releasing all the small defenses you've built today, the moments you felt you had to be tougher, sharper, less open. You can let them go now. You can be strong without being hard. Marcus wrote again and again that virtue is strength, and that kindness, patience, and understanding are its highest expressions. To be compassionate in his eyes was to be aligned with the nature of the universe itself. Because the universe, too, gives without asking. It sustains life endlessly, sun, air, rain, breath, expecting nothing in return. The same quiet generosity lives within you. Every time you choose patience over irritation, understanding over judgment, you move in rhythm with the greater order. Every act of gentleness is a small echo of the world's wisdom. There is warmth in this way of being, not the warmth of comfort, but of strength that does not break under strain. Gentleness allows you to stay open even when life tests you. It keeps your spirit soft enough to feel, but firm enough to stand. To live like this is not to avoid pain, but to meet it with grace. It is to let love and reason guide you through difficulty, not resentment or fear. It is to know that real power needs no display, because it already rests in self-control, understanding, and compassion. And so, as you breathe now, imagine this gentleness growing in you, not as fragility, but as light. A steady glow that does not flicker when the wind rises, a quiet strength that holds its warmth in the coldest of nights. Marcus found that light within himself, and he tended to it daily, not to prove anything, not to impress, but to live well, in harmony with what he believed to be divine in all things: reason, love, and calm. Let that same light live in you. Let it remind you that kindness is not the opposite of strength, but its truest form, that the calmest hearts are the most courageous. That gentleness is not weakness, it is wisdom made visible. And as the night deepens, let that wisdom settle into your breath. Breathe softly, as if the world itself is breathing with you, quiet, strong, enduring, kind. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The mind is its own place of refuge." He imagined the soul as a citadel, a quiet fortress standing in the center of life's storms, untouched by chaos, guarded by calm. It was not a fortress built of stone or strength, but of stillness. Within it, no noise could intrude, no insult could wound, no fear could command. He discovered this citadel not by fleeing the world, but by closing his eyes to it and listening. When the noise of the camp surrounded him, when shouts and storms filled the night, he would retreat inward to the small chamber of peace he carried wherever he went. There he would find himself again. You have that same place within you. It may have grown quiet under years of noise, but it has never disappeared. It waits, patient and unbroken, beneath the thoughts that crowd your mind. Take a slow breath in. And as you exhale, imagine walking toward that inner fortress. The air grows still around you. The walls of the world fall away. There is only silence now. Deep, steady, warm. In the center of this stillness burns a light, small, steady, constant. It is the light of your awareness, the part of you that watches, that knows, that remains unchanged no matter what the world does. Marcus called it the ruling reason, the mind's calm flame. He wrote, "Men seek retreats for themselves, in the country, by the sea, in the mountains. But you may at any hour retreat into yourself. Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul. This is not a retreat of escape, but of renewal. The world will continue, with its movement, its clamor, its joys and griefs, But within this citadel, you can breathe. You can remember who you are beneath circumstance. The mind, when at peace, becomes like a lamp in the dark, shedding quiet light on everything it sees, but burning no one. Even when surrounded by confusion, its clarity endures. Even when tested, its calm remains. Imagine yourself now inside that light. Feel how it steadies you, not by pushing the world away, but by reminding you that you are not the world's storm. You are the witness of it. You are the quiet behind it. Marcus trained himself to return here whenever life grew heavy. He knew that the outer world could never promise peace, but the inner world could always offer it. He wrote, "If you are disturbed by anything external, it is not the thing itself which troubles you, but your judgment of it, and it is in your power to wipe out that judgment now." This was not indifference. It was mastery, the mastery of the self over the noise of thought, the understanding that between event and emotion, there is always a breath, and in that breath, freedom. So breathe now, slowly, deeply. In that breath is your citadel. In that breath is the place no one can enter without your permission. Here, within the quiet of your mind, you are unshaken. Here, no word can wound, no storm can uproot. Here you can see the world as it is, changing, uncertain, vast, and remain steady in your knowing. The citadel of the mind is not isolation, it is connection. For when you rest in this stillness, you are closer to everything. You see that peace is not the absence of the world, but harmony with it. Marcus found this harmony again and again, returning to his inner refuge as one returns to the breath. He trusted that within the soul's still center lives something indestructible, a spark of order amid all change. And so do you. Let the light of that awareness guide you tonight. Let it remind you that strength is not the wall you build, but the calm you keep. The mind is its own place of refuge, the quiet flame that never goes out, the fortress you carry everywhere. Marcus Aurelius believed that every soul is a fragment of something vast, a spark of reason within the great fire of the universe. He called it the Logos, the divine order that moves through all things. To him, the universe was not chaos, but harmony, a living organism, self-sustaining, self-renewing, guided by intelligence. He wrote, "All that you see will soon perish, but those who behold it, and that which beholds, all spring from the same source." In this view, there is no true separation, only the illusion of distance between parts of the same whole. You, me, the stars, the wind, the smallest leaf, all are shaped by the same breath, the same reason, the same law that gives motion to the tides and thought to the mind. When we forget this, we feel lost. We think of ourselves as isolated, adrift in a world too large to understand. But when we remember, even for a moment, that we are woven into the fabric of existence itself, a quiet peace returns. The loneliness softens. The heart widens. Take a slow, deep breath. Let the air enter you, cool, weightless, infinite. You are breathing the same air that moves through trees and clouds, that once passed through countless lives before reaching you. This air is the voice of connection. It carries the memory of everything that has ever lived. Marcus knew this intimately. He saw the cosmos not as something distant, but as home. He wrote, "Frequently consider the connection of all things in the universe and their relation to one another. For all things are implicated with one another, and the bond is holy." To live with wisdom, then, is to live in harmony with this bond, to see that every joy and every sorrow, every life and every death belongs to the same pattern, that nothing is wasted and nothing is truly lost. Everything transforms, returns, begins again. The Stoics taught that the Logos is not something we must reach. It already lives within us. It is the quiet intelligence that guides our thoughts, the moral clarity that whispers even when the world grows loud. When you act with integrity, when you speak with compassion, when you live simply and truthfully, you are aligning yourself with that greater order. Imagine yourself now, standing beneath a night sky. The air is still. The stars stretch endlessly above, silent, radiant, alive. Each one burns with the same fire that flickers in your chest. There is no boundary between you and them. You are made of the same elements, moved by the same forces, sustained by the same mystery. You are not apart from the universe. You are its continuation, its expression, its living echo. Marcus would often remind himself of this unity to dissolve pride and fear. When troubled, he would write, "You are a little soul carrying a corpse, yet you are part of the soul of the universe." It was his way of remembering perspective, that whatever happens to him happens within the larger whole, and therefore cannot truly be against him. For how could the hand be harmed by what benefits the body? So too, whatever happens in your life, even what seems painful or unjust, is not outside the order of things. It belongs. It moves within the flow that sustains stars and seasons alike. To trust that order is to find peace, even in uncertainty. Let yourself rest in that trust now. Let your sense of I soften, not disappear, but expand. Feel how your breath is part of something greater, how the air moves through you as easily as through the trees outside your window. You are breathing with the world. You are not separate from anything that is. The Stoics saw this awareness as liberation. When you live in unity with the whole, you no longer cling to outcomes. You no longer fear endings. You begin to see beauty in everything, because everything is part of the same divine rhythm. This is the still point of the soul that Marcus returned to again and again, the knowing that to be in harmony with nature is to be in harmony with yourself. To align with the whole is to come home. So breathe once more, in and out. Feel the vastness around you mirrored in the vastness within. You are the universe looking at itself, thinking, feeling, loving. And in that recognition, the boundaries dissolve. There is no me, no you, no them. There is only us, only this, the silence, the breath, the endless, living whole. There comes a moment, quiet and rare, when the boundaries between I and all begin to dissolve, when thought slows, and the edges of the self soften like mist under morning light, when you no longer stand apart from the world, but feel yourself gently folded into it, one breath among countless breaths, one heartbeat in the body of eternity. Marcus Aurelius felt this often. In his writings, there are passages where his words grow tender, almost weightless, as if he is speaking not as an emperor nor even as a man, but as a part of the vastness itself. He wrote, "Constantly regard the universe as one living being, having one substance and one soul, and observe how all things have reference to one perception, the perception of this one living being." For him, this was not poetry, it was truth. To live well was to live in remembrance of belonging, to see that the mind, the body, the stars, and the soil all participate in the same mysterious harmony. There is no need to grasp for meaning when you are part of meaning itself. Take a slow breath. Feel how it moves through you without effort, without command. This same rhythm moves through trees, through oceans, through the quiet space between planets. Every pulse of existence hums to the same eternal music. You are part of that music, the small, shining note that only you can play. And when you rest, the song continues, endless, serene. Marcus wrote of this unity not to escape the world, but to love it more completely. He saw that to feel separate is to suffer, to remember connection is to heal. When he faced loss, he would remind himself that nothing truly disappears. Everything transforms, everything continues. The soul returns to the source from which it came, as the wave returns to the sea. He said, "What is born of earth returns to earth. What is born of heaven returns to heaven. The current of the universe flows forever, and all things are carried along by it." In that flow, there is peace. Not the peace of still waters, but the peace of knowing that movement itself is sacred, that you do not have to resist or control the river of life. You are the river. Its course is your course. Its destination is already within you. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine this vastness. A sky scattered with stars, endless and calm. The faint shimmer of galaxies turning in silence. The whisper of wind over the earth, carrying the scent of night. All of it moving together, effortlessly, beautifully, forever. Now imagine yourself within that stillness, not as an observer, but as part of it. Your breath rises and falls with the rhythm of the universe. Your thoughts drift and return, like tides. There is no need to hold, no need to fear. You belong to this order, this balance, this infinite pulse of being. Marcus called this recognition tranquility through alignment. To live in harmony with the universe is to let go of the illusion of separateness, to stop saying, "This is me, and that is the world," and to realize, "I am both." This understanding brings a tenderness beyond words, a love for everything that exists, simply because it exists. Even the smallest thing becomes sacred: a drop of rain, a flicker of light, the silence between two breaths. In that tenderness, the self becomes transparent. You can feel life flowing through you, not as yours, but as ours, ancient, boundless, free. Take one last deep breath. Let it fill you slowly, and as you exhale, let the idea of I fall away, leaving only the quiet awareness that remains when all striving ceases. There is no distance now between you and the stars, between your breath and the wind, between your soul and the soul of the world. Everything is one motion, one silence, one peace. And in that stillness you can finally hear the truth that Marcus knew, the truth that all the wise have whispered since time began. You are the universe, listening to itself. There is a kind of dawn that does not arrive with sound. It comes softly, not to wake, but to reveal. Long before the sun touches the horizon, the world begins to breathe again. The darkness lightens by degrees, shadows turn to shapes, and the still air carries the promise of morning. This too happens within you. The mind that drifted through the quiet of night now begins to glow with a softer awareness. Not the sharp light of thought, but a tender, inward brightness, a new light within. Marcus Aurelius often wrote at dawn. The world around him was still gray, the city not yet stirring. He would open his journal and begin again the ancient practice of remembering. When you arise in the morning, he wrote, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love. He understood that each day was not a repetition, but a renewal, that waking is not only of the body, but of the soul. To see the light again, within and without, is a quiet miracle. Take a slow breath in. Let the air feel new, as if the world itself were offering it to you for the first time. Exhale gently. Notice how each breath clears a small space inside you, how it makes room for calm, for gratitude, for light. The night behind you has done its work. It has softened the edges of your mind, washed away the weight of yesterday, reminded you of stillness. And now, as morning begins, that stillness does not vanish. It deepens. It becomes the soil from which awareness grows. Marcus called this clarity the ruling part of the soul, the quiet reason that shines even when the world is dim. It is the part of you that knows what matters and what can be left behind. It does not rush. It does not clamor. It simply opens, like a flower turning toward the dawn. Let your awareness do the same. No need to rise, no need to move, just allow the light of understanding to bloom gently through you. The day will come soon enough, but for now, you are still in the threshold, half night, half day, the perfect balance between rest and renewal. The Stoics believed that wisdom begins here, in this small act of awakening without resistance, not leaping into the noise of life, but greeting it with calm presence. To open your eyes with gratitude, not haste. To feel the quiet joy of being, before doing, before speaking, before thinking. The sky begins to pale in your imagination now. There is gold along the edges of the dark. A bird stirs somewhere. The earth exhales. You, too, are part of this gentle awakening. One pulse in the greater rhythm of life. You need not prepare for the day. The day will meet you where you are. You need only carry this calm forward, this small inner sunrise that begins in the heart. Breathe once more, slowly. Feel the warmth behind your ribs, the softness in your chest. That is your dawn. That is your light. The world awakens outside, and within you, a new light quietly rises to meet it. Gratitude is not loud. It is not the sudden rush of joy or the grand gesture of thanks. It is something softer, a steady awareness that life, in all its quiet ordinariness, is still miraculous. To awaken, to breathe, to think, these are gifts too easily forgotten. Marcus Aurelius began many of his mornings with this remembrance. Before he spoke to anyone, before he faced the weight of empire, he would write to himself, "Each morning, remember, you have the gift of thought, of choice, of peace." He knew that gratitude was not an emotion to chase, but a practice, a way of seeing. It is the art of turning your gaze toward what already is, rather than what is missing. It is the act of waking up to life itself. Take a slow breath in. Let it fill your lungs with ease, then release it, long and gentle. This too is a reason for gratitude, the simple rhythm that keeps you alive moment after moment without demand. The breath asks for nothing but awareness, and in return, it gives you the world. To be grateful is to see clearly. It is to look at the same sky, the same morning light, the same familiar day, and recognize that it could all have been otherwise. It is to whisper thank you, not out of obligation, but out of quiet wonder. Marcus wrote that every event, even the smallest, is an opportunity for the soul to exercise virtue, to be patient, kind, humble, awake. To him, gratitude was not reserved for pleasure or comfort. It extended to challenge, to loss, to impermanence. Receive without pride, he said. Let go without attachment. That too is gratitude, to accept the coming and going of things with an open heart, to see even endings as part of life's generosity. Look around you, in your mind's eye. The light of dawn deepens. The air carries the scent of beginnings. You may not know what the day will bring, but you can meet it with presence, and that is enough. Every moment offers you something to notice: the softness of air, the quiet hum of the world awakening, the steady pulse in your chest. These are not small things. They are everything. Marcus often reminded himself that life is fleeting, and precisely for that reason, precious. He wrote, "Do every act of your life as though it were the last." Not to instill fear, but to awaken gratitude, to remind himself that the simplest act, when done with awareness, becomes sacred. To wash one's hands, to speak gently, to take a breath, all are moments of connection with the greater whole. So as you sit in this early light, let gratitude rise within you, like the slow warmth of morning. There is no need for words, just awareness, soft, full, steady. Thankfulness is not an effort. It is a remembering. Remember, you are here. You are breathing. You have the gift of thought, to reflect, to learn, to understand. You have the gift of choice, to respond, to forgive, to love. You have the gift of peace, waiting always beneath the noise, ready to be reclaimed. Even if the world feels uncertain, even if not everything is as you wish it to be, the fact that you can feel, that you can care, that you can hope, is proof of life's beauty. The Stoics believed that gratitude is the root of wisdom, because it aligns the heart with nature's order. When you are grateful, you no longer demand that life be other than it is. You flow with it as a leaf moves with the stream, guided, carried, content. Take one more breath, in and out. Let that breath itself be your thank you. Thank you for this body that moves. Thank you for this mind that sees. Thank you for this dawn, this moment, this chance to begin again. When you live in this way, gratitude ceases to be something you practice. It becomes something you are, a quiet radiance that glows beneath every word, every step, every thought. And in that radiance, life is no longer something to endure. It is something to cherish, to marvel at, to bow to in reverent peace. The light grows stronger now, touching everything with gold. And as it does, let these words echo softly in your heart, as Marcus might have whispered to himself each morning. Each morning, remember, you have the gift of thought, of choice, of peace. And now, we come to the quiet end, not an ending of story, but a soft closing of the circle. The night has carried you from thought to silence, from turbulence to calm. You have walked beside Marcus Aurelius through the still corridors of his wisdom, and somewhere along the way, the noise within you began to fade. This is the journey we take each night, from the restless surface of the mind into the calm depths of being, from worry to wonder, from tension to release, from the question, why must life be so heavy, to the simple truth, it doesn't have to be. Marcus once wrote, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." He knew that peace is not something to be found out there, waiting in the distance. It is something we return to, like a familiar room, like a beloved voice, like the rhythm of our own breath. The calm you feel now has never been lost. It was only hidden beneath the waves of thought. Take a slow, steady breath in. Let it fill you with softness. And as you exhale, imagine everything you've carried, every worry, every ache, every unfinished thought, dissolving into the air around you. They do not need to be solved tonight. They only need to be released. This is what Marcus practiced in the solitude of his tent under the dim light of dawn. He would write to remind himself that all things, even suffering, are transient, that the same nature that brings pain also brings peace, if only we let it. He did not escape the world, he accepted it. He found stillness not in fleeing life, but in standing calmly within it. You have done the same in your own quiet way, by listening, by breathing, by allowing yourself to rest. You have practiced philosophy not as a study, but as a surrender, the art of coming home to what already is. The Stoics believed that wisdom is not a shield, but a lantern. It does not block the darkness. It simply shows the way through it. You have walked with that light tonight, the small flame of awareness that neither wind nor worry can extinguish. And now, as the night softens toward morning, that light becomes gentler still. Not gone, but resting, like an ember under ash, glowing quietly, ready to warm you again when needed. Let yourself drift now, without effort. Let the thoughts that remain become distant shapes on the horizon. You have learned what Marcus knew, that control is an illusion, that peace is a choice, that kindness begins within. You have seen that change is the rhythm of the world, and that by flowing with it, you become part of the music. There is no final lesson to take from this, only a feeling, the steady pulse of calm, beneath everything. The truth that peace is not earned, but remembered, that every night you can return to it again by closing your eyes and listening to the silence between thoughts. Marcus once compared the soul to a drop of water returning to the sea. When it lets go of its boundaries, it does not disappear, it becomes everything. So too with you. In your stillness, you rejoin the greater whole. You are not apart from life. You are its expression, its breathing, its quiet heartbeat. So as you sink deeper into rest, trust this. You are part of something vast and kind. You are held even now in the same harmony that moves the stars and steadies the tide. You have always belonged to it. You always will. Let the breath slow. Let the body grow heavy. The mind lighter still. There is nothing more to seek, nothing more to fix, nothing more to prove. You have come home, to yourself, to the night, to the peace that was waiting all along. Sleep now, philosopher of the night. The universe watches kindly.